Monroe board meeting. Can we all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I'd like to make that motion. Cologne to make the motion.
Second.
Call the question.
Aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye. Okay, so moved. Sal. Now it's on. Yep. Sorry.
Truck Festival is Saturday, October 16th at O&R Park, same spot as it has been previously. We got close to 20 food trucks, live music. I believe there's not pony rides, a hay ride.
Highway's doing it.
Out and spend that Saturday with us, 11 to 6. Should be a great day. What else?
American Legion. Greater Monroe Chamber. That. So the Greater Monroe Chamber of Commerce will be hosting the first annual trunk or treat event in Town Hall on Saturday, October 23rd from 5 to 8 p.m. For any other information you need, please contact Jen Carrillo at the Greater Monroe Chamber of Commerce. You can contact her at Jen, that's Jen, at gmcoc.com, or you can contact her via telephone, which is 845-492-1147. I think the email I received from her this morning said that we presently have 11. So, all good there. We're going to also have refreshments for sale and some other items on the patio. We're going to set up a patio, so all is good.
That's going to be right here at Town Hall.
Yes, right here at Town Hall.
That's it.
Village police are involved for traffic control. Everything's in order.
Great.
That should be a good event.
Yes. Okay. Right into the public here. Oh, wait. Before we begin, I just want to have a moment of silence for Tommy Smith, who was one of the original fire district. Tommy passed away. His funeral is tomorrow. His wake is tonight. And he was one of the driving forces behind actually creating the district and consolidating and Lake Region fire companies into one district. Thank you. Item 4.1 is the proposed amendments. No, we're going to hold off on that one. Yeah, that. He's going to. Start out with 4.3, which is I'll make a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing for the proposed local law A-V1, amendment to Chapter 57 of the Town Code to regulate rental properties and transient housing. Call the question.
Am I?
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye. Okay, so moved. Anybody sign up?
No one signed up for public.
No one signed up. Anybody want to speak? On the transient housing? Yeah. That's all right. Okay. Anybody have anything to add? button with the voice.
Thank God. Nothing but the best here for the town board. So, the thing we have to allow greater larger lots. Well, then, you know what?
You gotta.
Anyway, we'll deal with that later. But so anyway, that's what we have to discuss as a board so that we can have the
Motion to keep open the continuation of the public hearing for proposed local law A-V1 for our next meeting, which is October 18th, 2021 at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter.
Colonna second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye. So moved. Motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing for the proposed Arrow Park Water District.
I'll make that motion.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
I
Okay, so moved. Anybody sign up to speak? Okay, just a point of reference here. So I spoke to our grant writer this past week. We actually have started a WIA grant for both Arrow Park and Water District 14. Arrow Parks, although it's not under our ownership currently, the grant can still be applied for. And what will happen is if the grant is approved, we cannot commence any work on it until the district is actually under our oversight. There's a deadline of November for these grants, so we wanted to try to beat the deadline and basically get ahead of it. And if the district does not go through for some reason, then basically we would just discontinue applying for the grant.
We can always reapply for another one following year if need be, I guess, right?
Yes.
So we'll do our best.
Supervisor, has a letter been sent out to the residents specifically saying how much their
No,
water bills?
Sean's currently, we were going over numbers last week a little bit, so I have to finalize them with him.
Right, because
And it,
concern of the residents.
yeah, oh no, I know that. And it will essentially encompass what we are applying for as a grant and what numbers they might have to pay, whether there is a grant or whether there isn't a grant. So there'll be multiple numbers with that. Okay. Open the public hearing to continue it for the proposed Arrow Park Water District on October 18th or at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter.
Cologne, second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye. Okay, so moved. Okay, item 4.9 is allowing retail cannabis dispensaries and/or on-site cannabis consumption establishments within the town of Monroe. I'll make a motion to open up that public hearing.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
McKinney,
Okay, so moved. Anybody sign up to speak? Anybody want to speak? Okay. Anybody from the board?
Say a few words on that.
Go ahead.
As I said at the last meeting, I was greatly concerned about the lack of hearings that should have been done nationwide and then statewide. But I think it's good that at least we in this town of Monroe, have taken time to have a discussion on this. It's very important, I think. Mr. Supervisor, you said if we opt out, we can always opt in at any time if need be, but if we opt in, it's a one-way street. Correct me if I'm wrong?
Correct.
So at this time, I would hope that we would get more public opinion for or against. Even though it's been kind of like quasi-legal, there's no guideline yet or anything. The state is still formulating, so at this time, I would think it would be more prudent for the town to take a step back and wait to see how it formulates their regulations on this.
I concur. I concur with Councilman Cologne. We need to, opting in won't give us the ability to opt out once we do, and I believe that we need to really know more about.
I also would agree with that, and being a member of the healthcare profession, I'm sure all of us remember back in the 50s and 60s when smoking, just regular tobacco, was considered, normal. I do have concerns from a health aspect. I don't see any long-term studies yet regarding what the effects could be on lungs or other body issues. So, opting out is the way I'm leaning right now.
The other great concern is the amount of THC, and the strength of this stuff nowadays is quite potent. It's no longer a laughing matter. In fact, it's, almost 8 times the strength in some of these things. And I have some serious questions about edibles, because I can just foresee too many problems with these things being put in foods, and people either mistaking or children getting their hands on it. I'm very nervous about that issue. So there's a lot to be discussed, I think, on the state level as well as within the town. I hope the state will have some open meetings on this. I think it's very important for everyone to at least voice an opinion on this regardless. But we know it's going to go through one way or the other, but let's not rush into this. Let's do it judiciously.
I think the law enforcement issue is primary on in my head with regard to this. There's testing, although there has been some that has, been rumored to be in the works, and I think that that is really a big issue, especially when we're talking about employees who are driving and might be using it medically, and what the issues are with that. Council, any thoughts on that?
George, can you hear me? I think making the decision to opt out prior to the 31st of December, that's the deadline. It gives the town more time to consider all of these ramifications. So I would agree with the town's position, especially considering the fact that there isn't even an advisory board that's been set up by the state yet. Definitely gives.
Oh.
I wouldn't, no, I wouldn't.
That's like 3. The CBD stuff is like 3% or less.
Well, you go into stores and by the register, every store's got like a little section of CBD stuff now, and I was wondering if that's the same product that
No,
I
it's not.
guess would be even stronger.
It's a different product. I mean, they take I think the component of THC out of it. So it's very low percent. But I liken this legalization of cannabis to a national experiment, if you will. We had a national experiment many years ago with the Volstead law when we had prohibition. We may have it legal for a while. It may stay legal for a short period. It may be longer. I don't know. But it's a long way to go before it should be dispensed. And I'm hoping that more towns in the state have a discussion on this.
Okay.
That's it.
like to make a motion to keep open the public hearing regarding proposed local law opting out of allowing retail cannabis dispensaries and/or on-site cannabis consumption establishments within the town of Monroe, and the continuation will be held on October 18th at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter.
Second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Oh, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Item 411 is a motion. I'll make a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing regarding the petition to amend zoning ordinance, Monroe Nininger LLC.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Oh, aye.
Good night.
Okay. Anybody sign up to speak?
No one has signed.
Okay. This is still in limbo somewhat, so I'm going to make a motion to keep open the continuation of the public hearing regarding the petition to amend zoning ordinance Monroe Nininger LLC. We'll reconvene that public hearing on December 6th, 2021 at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter. Do I have a
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Oh, aye.
Good night.
Okay. So I'm going to hold off on the other public hearings until our planner gets here. Item 5.1 is the acceptance of the September 7, 2021 minutes. I'll make a motion to accept those.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Changes, alterations, corrections? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye. Okay. Item 5.2 is the acceptance of the September 20th, 2021 minutes. I'll make a motion to accept those.
Cologne, a second.
Any changes, alterations, corrections? No other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham to abstain.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. General Fund Abstract, item 6.1. The amount of total claims, it's the abstract number 21-15 for $355,000, 771.99, containing check numbers 1989. No, I'm sorry, wrong one. Containing check numbers 27552 through 27587.
Cologne, a second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Good night.
Okay, thank you. Item 6.2 is an escrow fund abstract. We request approval for abstract number 21-11, escrow fund containing check numbers 1989 through 1995, totaling $23,832.97.
Cologne, a second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye. Item 7.1 is a budget transfer abstract. Abstract number 21-05, totaling $209,304.18. And those are all highway CHIPS transfers. To balance that out. Call the question. I'm sorry, do we have a second?
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
So moved. Okay, item 9.1. We need resolutions for the water grants I spoke briefly about before this. So I will start with Mary. I'll have you read the last two for 14 and item 9.2 and 9.3. I'll read 9.1.
Were those in what was left on the agenda or are they part of the packet?
Oh, they're part of the packet.
Okay, so I'm
So-
doing,
So 9.1 is a resolution authorizing the town supervisor to apply for New York State grant assistance, whereas the Environmental Facilities Corporation is soliciting applications through the Water Infrastructure Improvement Act for clean and drinking water improvement projects. Whereas the town of Monroe has an identifiable need to conduct infrastructure improvements in Water District Number 8, therefore be it resolved, the Monroe Town Board does hereby authorize the town of Monroe supervisor to submit an application to the Environmental Facilities Corporation through the WIA grant program to fund necessary infrastructure improvements in Water District Number 8. Do we have a second? Any discussion?
wait, I'll have to make that motion because you have to sign it.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so I will make the motion for the supervisor to sign.
Councilman Scantello. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Malone, aye.
Cardone, aye. So moved. Item 9.2, it's a WIA grant resolution for Water District 14. Councilwoman Bingham?
A resolution authorizing the town supervisor to apply for the New York State grant assistance, whereas the Environmental Facilities Corporation is soliciting applications through the Water Infrastructure Improvement Act for clean and drinking water improvement projects, whereas the town of Monroe has an identifiable need to conduct infrastructure improvements in Water District 14. Therefore, be it resolved, the Monroe Town Board does hereby authorize the Town of Monroe supervisor to submit an application to the Environmental Facilities Corporation through the Water Infrastructure Improvement Act grant program to fund the necessary infrastructure improvements in Water District Number 14. I'll make that motion.
Malone, a second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye. So moved. Item 9.3, which is a WIA grant proposed for the proposed Arrow Park Water District.
I'd like to make a motion, be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Monroe resolution authorizing the town supervisor to apply for New York State grant assistance, whereas the Environmental Facilities Corporation is soliciting applications through the Water Infrastructure Improvement Act for clean and drinking water improvement projects, whereas the Town of Monroe has an identifiable need to conduct infrastructure improvements in the Arrow Park Water District, whereas the town of Monroe is in the process of purchasing the Arrow Park Water District, whereas the town of Monroe has confirmed with the Environmental Facilities Corporation that a Water Infrastructure Improvement Act application can be submitted before ownership of the Arrow Park Water District is secured. Therefore, be it resolved, the Monroe Town Board does hereby authorize the Town of Monroe supervisor to submit an application to the Environmental Facilities Corporation through the Water Infrastructure Improvement Act grant program to fund the necessary infrastructure improvements in the Arrow Park Water District.
Malone, a second.
One question on that. So it says in here that the town of Monroe is in the process of purchasing Arrow Park Water District. The water district will be actually turned over to the town. Does it have to say purchase in there? I mean, if we do that, it's only going to be for $1, or should it state that we're taking over the district, acquiring? So can we just adjust that motion to state purchasing it for $1? It's coming out of McGinn's pocket because he wants new mics.
So since I made the motion, I'll amend it to say for $1.
Out of McGinn's pocket.
He owns it.
You own it now.
There you go. I'll give it to him.
Congratulations.
Okay. Can we get a vote on that?
Yeah, we got.
Who seconded?
I second. Cologne, a second.
Cologne.
Okay, Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved. All right, item 9.4 is the license agreement for the Warwick Valley Humane Society. So we've come to an understanding pretty much, and council is in a process of drawing up a license agreement for this. They would like to be in there sometime between October 20th and November 1. The rate per month is $3,650, and that does not include the difference in the utilities that would be on tap as well. So if in prior months, specific months, it cost us $100 to operate that for, let's say, a combination of water and electric, and while they're in there, it's costing $150, that $50 balance would be paid by the Warwick Humane Society. They will not be housing dogs from Monroe. They will be not accepting dogs from Monroe. The reason they're doing this is due to the fact they're doing major renovations on their shelter in Warwick. They don't want the dogs stressed during that process. The process should take between 8 and 10 months. So that's essentially where we're at. I'd like to make a resolution that we approve this in a form conducive to council's approval. So I can't make that motion.
I'll make the motion.
You make the motion.
All right.
Bingham to second for discussion.
Yeah, let me make the motion, and then we'll because he can't make it. So, all right. So I'll make a motion that we authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with the Warwick Humane Society, Warwick Valley Humane Society, per month through the 1,600.
Seconded for discussion, Mary?
Yes. A question. We were going to have the dog park over there. I'm not exactly sure when the opening was going to be, in the back. Do you have any time frame yet for
He's
that?
supposed to be installing the fence next weekend. And, I mean, you're probably looking at sometime before the 15th of November, but that's, I haven't spoken to...
It's an estimate.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to Noah. He's been working with Amory, and I didn't get to speak to Amory today. She was out, but I'm going to say it probably looks like somewhere in the neighborhood of November 15th. I know he's awaiting delivery of some of the apparatuses and the benches that will be put in there.
So it's not going to interfere at all with what
No.
Warwick wants to do. And the maintenance people, do they have any equipment in there that needs to be taken out?
Maintenance had begun the process today of relocating their equipment to different areas at Highway and in the actual maintenance, the old dog shelter. The Warwick Humane Society will have use of the washer dryer area. They will have use of the 15 kennels and the desk and sink area when you walk in. They will have use of. Maintenance still has their own office where they kind of, launch out of and turn out of. So
That answers my questions. Thank you.
question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay, item 9.5, a return of escrow balance of Michael Labaw's escrow unused funds in the amount of $180.04. Everything has been cleared by the ZBA, and the date of request is September 29th, 2021.
You making the motion?
I'm making the motion.
Cologne, a second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item 9.6 is an escrow fund from the ZBA for Vincent Comito, and that amount is $1,152.96. That was requested on September 29th. There's a voucher, an escrow report, and a zero balance from Ferrick Nugent McCartney in your packets. So I'll make that motion.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Aye.
Okay. And the final one is a return of escrow There's a zero invoice balance as per FNM attorneys, which is attached. It's going to go to Anthony Piazza, and that's $1,177.92. I'll make that motion. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
All right.
And I, with full disclosure, that I'm very good friends with Anthony.
Any relation to the Met catcher? Any relation to the Mets?
Oh, no, not even close. He's a Yankee fan.
Right? He was a catcher, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're going back to public hearing since Max Stack is here. So I'm going to make a motion to open the public hearing for amendments to local law amending Chapter 57 zoning to amend the special permit requirements applicable to hotels, and that's 210825. Have a second?
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Malone, aye.
Bone aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Hello all. The local law before you tonight is intended to amend the current special permit criteria, which currently as exists would not allow most high-quality national chains to come into the town and locate. For example, right now, in order to provide a typical 80-unit national chain, 80-key national chain, which are typically across the country located on 2 to 3 acres, in Monroe you'd need 10 acres based on the density requirements. Additionally, most national chains request 3 to 4 stories, and in Monroe you're not allowed to have more than 2.5. So in most cases it would be 2. There is other restrictions. Kitchen facilities are restricted. There are several all-suite brands that offer across the country. Fitness centers, business centers, gift shops, sundries, snack shops, bars, lounges are all typically included with national brands. None of these are expressly permitted as part of the existing special permit. Additionally, we just went through short-term rental legislation that established that transient occupancy is 29 days or less. And the law that is the special permit criteria for hotels restricts length of stay to 10 consecutive days and 30 days or consecutive days for no more than 25% of units. These type of restrictions are contrary to the short-term rental transient, and it would be easier just to refer to those regulations. Lastly, we're not sure why, but the special permit criteria as they exist today requires no more than 1 structure per lot. And while that's not particularly incongruous with most national chains, we don't understand a compelling reason why that. So essentially what we've proposed is a law that would establish a minimum of 2 acres that would allow up to 5 every additional. Once that is introduced, we would recommend. We've provided an AF Part 1 for the board's review, as well as a Part 2, a Part 3, and a proposed negative declaration. So these seeker forms essentially establish why the proposed changes would not result in significant impacts.
Do you have any questions?
Signed up for public.
Questions. This would be looking to special use.
So we are not recommending that hotels be allowed in zones where they're not currently allowed. So this would be wherever they're allowed, currently, they would be allowed under these revised terms.
As a special use.
As a special use, correct.
I think our LI, I know HI allows it. I don't know about GB, but I think LI, which we have a considerable amount of land that's zoned LI. Special use.
I think that's a good point, because it's a special use. In addition to these specific criteria that are proposed to hotels, there are also a number of general special permit criteria. And those special permit criteria establish things like it will not have a traffic impact, it will not, excessively use water, sewer beyond capacity of the town. So a lot of the concerns that you might have with hotel are controlled by those general special permit criteria, which empower the planning board essentially to require studies that show it won't have a traffic impact, that it will not use excessive water, and those type of matters.
I think this is bad people. Obviously, we're in proximity to Woodbury Commons and a number of other up-and-coming attractions here in Orange County, and we're well situated to have those here, and
Question on that. So it's only up to 75 keys, you said, or 75 rooms and 4 stories, is that it?
It's 75 keys on 2 acres. So you have to have 2 acres minimum.
Right.
Once you have 2 acres, you're allowed 75. If you want more than 75, you need 5,000 square feet per additional key.
5,000 square feet of property.
Lot area.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit. I mean, so if they wanted to put on 25 more, that's,
Another 5 acres.
yeah, that's quite a bit.
No, another 3 acres. A little more than 3 acres.
Yeah.
3 acres additional to the 2, so that would have to be on a 5-acre lot. And then you have the parking, so it's still. Well, parking would be included in that, but what I'm thinking is that because, like Councilman McGinn stated, we are in a very strategic area where I think we're going to be getting a lot more requests, but we're not going to have that kind of size of property to go up to a 5-acre lot if they wanted to have, say, 100 rooms instead of 75?
Max, what do most hotel chains require rooms? How many rooms, like for national brands?
I'm actually going to look and just make sure I have that correct.
I think we're going to need some more space on that.
I think that when I did a little research, I thought it was about 85.
And then an additional 5,000 square feet is quite a bit.
Yes, I just want to make sure I'm quoting it correct before I proceed on the question. I think most national chains are looking for at least 75 units, and typically a 2 to 3 acre site is what they'll require in order to get the 3 to 4 story building on and the parking they need, which is typically 1 space per unit or one space.
But on 75, you wouldn't necessarily require 4 stories. It'd only be 2.
No.
You have to have.
2 acres, but it's going to be what? On 2 acres. But what I'm saying is that it should be, if it's going to be 4 stories on 2 acres, it's kind of small.
What, 2 acres is small?
Building will be small for the 2. But what I'm saying is, let's say we leave it at 75 or maybe even push it up to 80.
Well, let's have the planner do some due diligence and we'll get a general idea.
Yeah, because I don't know if we would have another slot of 5 acres to to put up, if you know what I mean. We're getting pretty close to build out, so.
Understood. I'll double check that.
Please.
I'm having trouble getting onto my server
Yeah,
here.
no worries, but I mean, we have some time for that, but I just wanted to bring that point up.
This is all stuff that we'll work out through the public hearing process. You know,
right.
we'll put our great minds together,
That'll-
self-excluded from that comment, and come up with something that works and is marketable.
Yeah.
I do have it here, Mr. Cologne, and I just want to make sure. So it would be 2 acres, and 1,500 square feet per additional. Yeah. After I said that, I was a little confused, and then I realized 5,000 square feet per additional key is your current standard. So your current standard is minimum lot area of 1 acre and 5,000 square feet per unit. So for that 1 acre that you need, you can get 8 keys. And then to get, 80 keys, you basically need a 10-acre property. So it's just not what Hilton, Marriott, any of these chains are building. And so you can see actually that that's much more reasonable, right?
Yeah, well, I'll give you a call and we'll
Oh, okay.
beat around a few numbers and see what we can come up with.
Questions, concerns? Again, did you want to read the whereases in this resolution?
I don't have that resolution in my package.
It's an extra,
Oh, it's over here, okay.
one that says 4.1.
Thank you for pointing that out.
My pleasure. Thanks to Val for making the copy. Thank you, Val. Therefore,
Therefore, be it resolved that, Section 1, the above whereas clauses are incorporated herein as if set forth fully. Section 2, the town board determines that the proposed action is a type 1 action requiring review pursuant to the SECRA and the governmental regulations promulgated. Section board declares application as the town have a significant adverse. Section 4, the town board directs the town clerk and any other officers, employees, or consultants as directed by the supervisor to take any action necessary to carry out the provisions of this resolution. Section 5, the town board hereby directs that the proposed local law be referred to the town planning board for review, as well as the Orange County Department of Planning and other agencies determined to be appropriate by the town and its professionals. Section 6, the town clerk shall send a copy of the local law environmental assessment forms to any interested agency. And Section 7, this resolution shall be effective immediately. The question of adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly put to a roll call vote, which resulted as follows.
motion,
I'll make the motion.
second it. Discussion, question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay, I'll make a motion to keep open the public hearing regarding proposed amendments to local law, amending Chapter 57 zoning to amend the special permit requirements applicable to hotels. Item number 210825 on October 18th, 2021 at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
And aye.
Okay. Item 4.7, a motion to open up the public hearing regarding proposed amendments to a local law amending Chapter 57 in zoning to establish a two-family dwelling overlay for the area of the town of Monroe north of Route 17M, and that version will be that law will be listed as Law E, Version 1, or E-V1.
Second.
Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye. So moved. Anybody sign up to speak?
Old Kraus.
Carol, do you want to sign up? Yeah, sure. Just Carol Hawkshurst.
Please, come on. Make sure you turn.
Mic on, Carol.
Top.
Thank you. Hi,
Remove your mask.
oh, okay. Maybe a silly question. I just don't know. Where is
Questions
that
are silly.
considered the 208, like, where is this, is it 17 north, you said, north of 17?
North of Route 17,
So,
northwest corner of the town of Monroe.
which is where, though?
Seven Springs Road.
Okay, all right.
But I think we probably should have let Max
Okay, yeah.
comment. This way he'll kind of probably answer some of those
get a
questions.
sense of
But listen,
where-
sit tight, stay there.
Yeah.
Max, why don't you open up, and then if you have
Okay.
any questions, you
My
can
mistake, Max.
fire
Sorry.
away.
And let him have it.
Certainly. So the 2017 comprehensive plan, when it was adopted, discussed the area north of Route 17 as an area in transition and recognized that families in that area desired to live at higher densities and with larger families, including extended families. And that it would be appropriate over the longer term for the town to reconsider the zoning in that area as that transition continues. As we know, that has continued to occur, and the areas between the village of Curious Joel and the village of South Blooming Grove, and it was, the idea to allow additional types of housing, namely two-family housing. So two-family housing would allow two dwelling units in one structure. Basically, the structure that is proposed here is that you would require for the SR10 twice the lot area that you would for a single family for the two-family. But you would require, obviously, there would be a less yard area between them. There would be greater setbacks between each unit. Essentially, in that area where the terrain is difficult and can be steep, it's easier to build homes together on, flat areas as they exist throughout the area. As you get to the area beyond the SR10, you have RR, rural residential, which is 1 acre. In that area, it would not be double, it would be 1.25 acres. I think that is to recognize that the current area is sort of built out between a ½ acre and 2.5 acres per unit. So it would, in most cases, allow a 2 acre, a two-family home if you have a little bit more than the minimum required. Regardless, it's not going to result, one of the things that we wanted to accomplish is it's not going to result in a tremendous amount of additional housing where we would have new impacts, but to allow some flexibility and some additional use in that area. In addition, there were some conditions that were imposed in addition to get the two-family dwelling. One is that there would be one driveway. Another was that there would be a area along the road that remains wooded, just to maintain the wooded area, that area. One of the things that impetus for this also in having two families versus one family is you're maintaining more significant areas between each unit of woods, and that is a wooded area of the town. So that's the basic structure of the law. Again, you would require twice the lot area for a single family or 1.25 acres, whichever is less. Right now, that's the RR1 is 1 acre, and also in the SR10, right now, without sewer service, you're required to have 1 acre also. So that would allow a two-family per 1.25 acres. One other last thing of note, and it comes up with the environmental impact, is that you need to be able to put a septic, since there's no sewer right now, until there's sewer up there, you would need to put in a septic system. And so the soils are not great, so that it's going to require some engineering, and that may end up being the controlling factor for how much density you can get anyway. So regardless of whether we set it at 10,000 in the SR10 or 1.25, if you require 2 acres to get, a septic tank in for 8 bedrooms and 2 dwelling units, meaning 4 each, that's what you have to have. And if you can figure out a way to engineer it, that might be an area where relief can be provided.
Of course, the town engineer is septic system.
That's correct, and there was an introductory law that we were considering with regard to sewer. That's not on the agenda tonight. I think there was some questions that we had about the current structure and how that's done. But yeah, any septic system has to be approved by the building inspector, and the building inspector refers anything beyond a simple system to the town engineer for a review before he signs off on it. You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm familiar with the septic system. I'm dealing with an issue on my own house with that. What kind of impact, or is this a premature question, as far as on the environment, like with having 2-family homes, which, I don't know, I'm just not familiar. I'm just wondering, is that known, or is that like a premature question? Like what kind of impact that could actually have on the environment overall in that area?
Well, that is a question. We think that, again, building 2-family homes with a single driveway on a larger lot versus 2 single-family homes, across the same area is certainly less impactful on the environment and provides more meaningful open space to be preserved. And that's the majority of the area where you have SR10, and you would require 20,000 square feet. That's if you're able to get either sewer or you're able to get septic at that lot area. Again, 1.25 acres now, I think with a 2-family home on it, you're still preserving a fair amount of buffer around the lot if you're able to get the septic in on that.
Right. And the town of Monroe right now, it's just not considering this situation, but just it's 1 acre, right, for a single-family home. Not
This entire
When you say
area
2.
that's not served by sewer
Yeah.
requires 1 acre.
Okay.
As soon as Orange County Sewer District provides sewers, or if a builder were to develop a large lot there and he ran sewers, all of those properties could be developed at 10,000 square feet per single family. So it's really that provision that's currently limiting.
Yeah, I understand that. And another question is, does that open it up for other areas of Monroe to become, or is this just solely this area for 2-family homes? Does this open it up for the entire town of Monroe for this to possibly be the case?
No, this is just this area.
Okay.
This is the only area where this change is supported by the comp plan currently, the 2017 comp plan. And again, the rationale being the larger families looking for housing options in this area.
Understood. Okay. Thank you.
Your comments.
Thank you, Carol.
Who's next? Who's speaking next?
Bull Kraus. Joel Mann.
Joel Mann, yes, he will come after me.
Evening, sir.
State your name and
My name is Joel Mann from Brachman Associates, on behalf of a lot of property owners in this area. Since I'm involved in a lot of planning in the area, I'm actually have the idea what's the need of the community in that area. So I will say a couple of comments. One of the first, I want to thank the town board taking this serious and moving ahead from the long-awaited changes in that area, and we hope we will be able to work something out for the benefit of the neighborhood. First, I think there's a list of areas that's included in that area. I think it will be beneficial to have a map created, because there is some lots that are not included, so that will a little bit clarify people who want to know if their lot are part of the new overlay district or not. One of the key points is, the minimum lot area should be 2 times the minimum lot area, or 1.25 acres. So as stated before by Max, this area doesn't have any sewer, and I don't think too soon there will be sewer mains laid out in that area. Most of the properties in the Elroy subdivision that's along Mountain Road, even Seven Springs, Raywood, are actually 40,000 square feet. That means that most of the lots will not be able to benefit from this new zoning, because if there would be sewer, fine, we'll be able to have 20,000. So I think that's very important to look into that since if we're doing some changes, it shall be something that we're looking out, that it shall help the area. The maximum lot coverage should be 5% less. That's also basically, I believe that was more based on the SR10 with sewer. If we're going with SR10 without sewer, the lot coverage is just 15%. When you take the building footprint and all the parking area and everything together, it basically, for a single family home, it's okay. But once you go to a 2-family, it's still not double the size. We don't need double the size, because basically it's being blended in. Like you say, it's a shared driveway. There's some things together, but I think the lot coverage needs to be worked out, and actually I can help out and do some sketches from typical lots and submit. I will submit a letter in writing with some sketches just to be able to figure that out. And basically that's the key points that I have. I didn't have a chance to go through in detail. I believe that's basically a draft, and you're waiting comments. And I will actually suggest that if the town board, whatever the planner, if we can set up a meeting with the people from the community that are living there, property owners, to see the needs and try to work out together and serve the needs of the community. Thank you.
And do you think you could
What?
questions in a book?
Yes, sure. I will do that.
else?
Bull Kraus.
Hi. Good evening.
Evening.
State your name and
Joel Kraus.
If-
I live in KJ. I have a property. I lived actually in that area I grew up there. My parents lived there. My father, one of my parents lived there, and I happened to have a lot right next to them that I purchased around 9 years ago with the ultimate goal to live next to my parents. And unfortunately, as of today, we can't accomplish that. I'm not an engineer, I'm not in construction, I'm just a regular guy, and I depend on professionals to tell me what I can and cannot do. And considering with this new law, the way it was read, sounds like 90% of the people living in that area will not benefit of that change. And considering you called that change back for 2017, I appreciate the time the town gave to understand the need of the community in that area. I would say 95% won't benefit. It's only the 5% maybe that could have benefit of that change. My parents purchased, they lived here around for 50 years, 45 years, more than that. I grew up in that area. I married here, and I would love to live next to my parents. Unfortunately, my father passed away already. And on Sabbath, which we cannot drive, I'm forced to walk 25 minutes each way, 5 times during Sabbath, to visit my mother. And it's my ultimate goal to live next to her. And I was hoping with the new change that it will allow me just to build. We don't look for high-density housing or for investments or for rentals, just a house to live next to my parents where I grew up, where our community appreciates that and the neighborhood appreciates that. I don't think anyone around us everyone would be happy to see their children living next to their parents, and it's all that we want. And by the town creating laws that only benefits 5% of the people, I don't think is right. Again, I'm not a public speaker, I never spoke in public. I'm an individual. I purchased something for the good deed, but I had a good deed. Actually, the neighbor for my parents walked in on Saturday afternoon, notified my father that it was a neighbor for about 30 years, says, I would like to sell my property. I said, okay, I'm moving. Who do you want to sell it to? I want to sell it to the youngest kid, to the youngest son of yours. So he actually come over to us, gave me the generosity to came over and gave me an offer to purchase his property because he, as a neighbor, felt the importance and the good feel that while he moves away, he gives it away to a neighbor of his for 30-some years. And little did I know that I wouldn't be able to do much with it. And that's unfortunate. With that said,
Out of curiosity, how big is the lot you purchased?
I will throw that back to Joe Mann because
Square footage,
About
2 acres? I just find it hard to believe that you can't build a house on 2 acres. An additional house?
unfortunately,
Okay.
I don't.
All right, I don't want to go back and forth. I got the answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Anything else?
Just to add some lighting, because it's a very dangerous area that we walk on Sabbath. There's no lighting in the entire area.
I will tell you this. I have looked into lighting over there. I have reached out to Senator Skoufis's office, looking for a grant. I have also made an offer there that anyone who wants lighting there, we could create a lighting district. Now, with the lighting district, the residents who benefit from the lights would be responsible to pay for those lights.
Call it a day.
What's that?
Call it a day.
Call it a day, okay.
It's a very day. We have kids. I have 10 kids of my own. We walk there. It's unbelievable. It's so dangerous. It's no
Yeah,
sidewalks.
also you're going to have, I believe we also looked into a sidewalk. It's very difficult to put a sidewalk on 7 Springs on that road, isn't it?
Yeah, because people would have to
So-
sacrifice anywhere between 15 to 20 feet of their property.
Again, I can only speak for myself, but I will sacrifice 50 feet of my property for the safety of my kids.
Oh, that's understandable, but the problem is that in order for us to put a real sidewalk in, what we're saying is that because of the slope and the way that property is and the road, it's going to be difficult to put in a sidewalk without at least everybody along that way to sacrifice at least 30 feet.
I can understand the side was a lot more. It takes a lot more.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit more doing. So
But this lighting is something that's crucial.
So just so you understand with the lighting, so the town has a policy in place that if there's a cul-de-sac or an intersection, lights will be placed there, okay? If it's not a cul-de-sac or an intersection, the only other option is if there's a dangerous situation, a dangerous turn, and I have actually reached out to the county because there is one area that I am looking into on Seven Springs Mountain Road.
Further up.
There's a turn it's probably about 3/4 of a mile up from 208, 105. So they're looking into that, and that's a dangerous situation, because if we ended up doing this there and doing it at no cost, I'd have to do it throughout the whole town, and it would break the bank in town.
I don't think, again, I can only speak for myself, but I won't, nothing will block us as a parent to do anything to the safety of our children. We don't drive.
I understand that, and I don't want to go back and forth, but you got to remember, this is a rural area. When people moved up here, it was a rural area, and it will continue to be a rural area, and that's the case.
I want to go back to the reason why we came down, so when the town does evaluate, when modifying the zoning, please have in mind the 95%, not just the 5%.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Joel Jacobowitz.
Hi, my name is
Good
Joel
evening.
Jacobowitz,
Just Joel Jacobowitz, where do you live?
242 Mountain View Drive.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time. And if you remember me, we spoke in the past maybe twice.
Excuse me?
We spoke already about this issue back a year ago, 2 years ago, and I'm actually thankful that you took the time to get this to the next level. But while looking into it, with the minimal amount of information out there, I didn't see if my house is included or not. I actually came down to the town on Friday last week, asked them from a map to see if I'm included or not, and they said I need to come down, and I still don't know if I'm going to be included or not. That's one thing. Second of all,
Can you answer that, Max?
Certainly, yeah, you would be included. Everybody on Mountain View Drive, Irene Drive, Toby Place, Raywood Drive, that entire neighborhood there is, as well as both sides of Seven Spring Road, both sides of Seven Springs Mountain Road.
okay, thank you. Appreciate it. So to the next thing is, as the previous Joel and the other Joel spoke about, is that based on what we have seen so far, it looks like that we're not going to meet those requirements. And I may be, as you know, we spoke in the past, I may be in a unique situation. So if possible, I would suggest if we can meet and just to go through to see if there's any way I can have my property to be included.
Property is included.
I know included, but it should meet the requirements or whatever
So-
needs to be done, that I should be able to benefit. Being included is not enough.
We are working on another law regarding areas that are located in the sewer district, but that don't have sewer service, that may remedy a lot of the situation that you're considered right now.
Will that be included in this current?
I don't know what the status of that is.
But as far as the sewer,
The sewer, yeah, the sewer level. Yeah.
isn't there a moratorium on that?
Status of,
Yeah, there was another local law that sort of went along.
But that
No, no.
local law was just to
Yeah.
eliminate that old law that kind of
correct.
said the sewer superintendent. Is that the one you're?
Chapter 41, 42?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was another provision that we were talking about where if you were in the sewer district, but you didn't have the sewer service at this moment, and you were able to get the sewer, the septic service adequate to meet the requirements for the number of bedrooms you're proposing, that you could develop under the sewer district densities.
I'm remiss, but
Yeah.
we could have a discussion
And
on
I
it.
think we ended up tabling it because there was a question about the two sewer chapters and whether or not we could
conflicting
revoke
aspect
them.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that the bigger part of that was that provision. And I think maybe that was intended to be now in the two-family overlay district, but it's really relevant to anything in the town. So I think we have to iron that out, get that back in, and that will answer a lot of the concerns we're hearing tonight.
Okay.
Okay, so I hope we can get this done as soon as possible together with this one, because we're waiting for this many, many years now, and we're finally here, and it would be sad to see that we need to wait another few years because another law will come out or something. So,
Yeah, we're,
Yeah.
No, and our intention when we did the master plan in 17 was that if sewer would serve that area. Pay for that. We don't provide sewer, the county provides sewer, you know what I mean? We don't have anything to do with providing sewer, so all we can do is work our zoning that will allow septic in areas. So we're trying to do that, and again, when we did our master plan, that was our intention. We thought fully that would happen, but and we can't control the county, can't control the that entire area.
well, I don't think in the neighborhood where I live, there is many which can be developed multiple houses other than it's owners like me, like myself, which 1 acre land, and there's nobody to look forward to come and spend millions of dollars to do sewer. So we have to go by what we have now, and we're happy what we have now. We're not interested in building multiple houses or multifamily houses. That's not the case. So in my situation, actually, if you look up my address, I don't need to propose. It's already a fact. So all I want is, if possible, to get this done and get this included one way or another. I'm not an architect, and I'm not in construction. I built my house. I know how to get it done the right way, as we met and we discussed in the past. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if I may ask another thing, if it's possible, I don't know, I asked back years ago, I live in the same place for 13 years, if there's a possibility to put speed bumps on Mountain View Drive.
I don't see that happening. I think that creates too much.
Yeah.
Not Seven Springs, I'm talking about Mountain View Drive. I mean, the thing is that there's 2 ways to go. There's Irene Drive, and then there's Mountain View Drive, and the speed limit, I don't believe it's more than 20 or 25, maybe.
I think the
People
best
go
thing
the
might
fast.
be, if instead of putting speed bumps, we got the state police to sit out there, they could control that speeding.
I'm not a state police either, so. It's a safety issue. I just
No, I agree with you. It's a safety
it's a
issue.
safety
I
issue
ju-
for many years, and I don't know
And
what to do.
just so you understand, we have also petitioned the county to reduce the speed limit on Seven Springs Mountain Road from 40 to 30 miles an hour. I have been told that the review, which has to go to the state, can take up to 2 years. So you say you want us to move things along. I think this board does an extremely diligent job in moving things along. But when things are out of our control, just as this has to probably go to the county for review. Now, with all that happened with COVID, some of the reviews the county had got backed up so badly that we had a law, we submitted a review in June, the law was passed in September, the county sent me their recommendations in April. It didn't matter. So,
All right, to conclude, thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we can get this resolved for the benefit for.
thank you for coming down
Thank
and
you.
speaking, appreciate it. Anyone else? That's all, okay.
Supervisor, I just wanted to make one comment. Prior master plans only had 40,000 square feet. It was a builder's lot, the builder's acre. The new comprehensive plan has the actual acre. So I think that's part of the problem where a lot of these residents have lots that at the time it complied with the zoning, but now we've increased it by, it seems like a small amount to be in compliance with our comp plan, but that's not what their homes were built under 30 years ago, probably, maybe even a little bit more for some of the houses over there.
Yeah,
So
if I may point out on that, the original subdivision, that area is being called the Elroy subdivision. Elroy, E-L-R-O-I.
Ask where we're going with this? I mean,
Well, just so that when Max understands why some of the residents are concerned that, when he drafted this, he thought he was being inclusive, but because of what the prior comp plans allowed as far as a building lot, it's not as inclusive as maybe Max had originally intended. That's my point.
Basically, under the new comp plan, all the existing lots are actually non-conforming. It was changed from 40,000 to the requirement of 43 of a full acre. That's 43,560. So I think that's also something that should be adjusted with this. But
wasn't that redone?
That was
That was
already,
redone, yeah.
That was changed back.
that was changed back.
We
Yes.
grandfathered them in, didn't we?
Yeah.
The
No,
non-conforming,
the non-conforming was changed back.
Changed back? Okay, good.
Anyone else? What's that? Yeah, sure.
The ongoing saga here. I don't envy you guys sitting up there. My question is again.
State, no, we know who you are, just state your name.
Ward Brower, private citizen. Got that, Max? Thank you. When I heard Max speak, and he's mentioning again one of my pet peeves, number of bedrooms. I hope it's number of bedrooms as the chart you gave me about 2 years ago. Also, the number of occupants, because the number of bedrooms is a misleading number. And Max gave me that from Fairleigh Dickinson. They had both the density of number of occupants per unit plus the number of bedrooms. So if that could be incorporated every time we do this, because then we run into problems when we get to the seeker part. We're designing the capacity for sewer, and that number of bedrooms, it's one part of the town, it's a 4-bedroom apartment produces 4.8 people or less, actually. And another part, as we're seeing next to shop right now, this Smith Farm, those were 3 and 4 family units originally back 15, 18 years ago when it was first proposed. And what we're seeing there now, the demographics are like 3 times more than what was ever envisioned. But the seeker numbers were never changed. So this creates a problem on our infrastructure. So I don't need to, every time I go in the shop, right, someone says, was that the plan they presented to us 15 years ago? Well, not quite. And that needs to be addressed. I know this was long before you guys got on board. But if we could do it now, it'd be, I think, a prudent thing to do. Because this infrastructure can't change that overnight. Once you plan for it, you're set for like half a century. Who knows? Thanks.
Thank you, Ward. Motion to open the public hearing regarding proposed local law. No, wait a minute. Yep. Amending Chapter 57 zoning to establish a 2-family dwelling overlay for the area of the town of Monroe, north of Route 17, on October 18th, 2021 at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Agarello, aye.
aye.
Okay. Thank you, Max. Appreciate you coming tonight. Yeah. Want to do that resolution, Councilman again? Thank you.
Lead agents. Now be it resolved that Section 1, the whereas clauses are incorporated herein as set forth fully. Section 2, the town board determines that the proposed action is a type 1 action requiring review pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, and the governing regulations promulgated thereunder. Section 3, the town board, as adopt a proposal, hereby declares it environmental. Town board directs the town clerk and any other officer, employee, or consultant as directed by the supervisor to take any action necessary to carry out the provisions of this resolution. Section 5, the town board directs the proposed local law be referred to the town planning board for review, as well as the Orange County Department of Planning and any other agencies determined to be appropriate. Section 6, the town copy of the local and environmental. Section 7, the resolution question of this option.
Second it. Question?
Bingham, aye.
All right.
Cardone, aye.
Pancarello, aye.
And I,
Oh, I just want to read that email I got concerning that speed limit reduction. So it was sent to me on 9/13, and it says, "Dear Mr. Cardone, the speed limit reduction request to New York State DOT on Tuesday, August 31st has been received. I tried to send to Mrs. Bitzer, but cannot find her email. We have not yet received an acknowledgement from NYS DOT. As soon as we do, we'll forward it to you for your records. Please be advised that these requests take anywhere between 6 months and 2+ years. There are some that we submitted well over 6 months ago that are still outstanding. P.S. As you may have seen, paving along County Route completed on Saturday, September 11th. Thank you, Michael Villarosa, Principal Engineer, Orange County Department of Public Works." So us and the county have been working on it, and it's now in the hands of the state. So I just wanted to state that for the record. Okay. Legislator Tui is here to give an update.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Max.
We'll discuss this. We'll discuss this further, obviously.
Max, the meeting will probably go on for another half hour, so just deduct that time from the time you're here when it comes to billing. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Max. I know you had another meeting. I appreciate you scooting up.
Thanks, Max. Appreciate it.
I want to thank the board for having me here. It's, we've been trying to get in for a while, but just before I start off, you're all aware of the Orange County Sewer District #1 Advisory Board, and I just want to give you a quick update on that. We're in the draft stage of the environmental impact study, and I'm anticipating it hopefully to come back to open up some public comment to make it the final EIS, and by the end of the year. So I thought it might have been able to come about a little quicker, but it is moving forward for the projects down in the wastewater treatment plant in Harriman. With that, I just want to tell you that the county, coming out of a pandemic, is in good shape financially. We've weathered the storm through the pandemic with regards to our fiscal well-being. Of course, we had to live through it and bless the souls who perished during it, and those that got sick and have continued sickness. But as far as the county going with its financial well-being, we continue to remain under the state tax cap for a number of years now. The county has let less debt proposed in the 22 budget that we've had in probably 7 years. So this year's, the 2022 county budget will be up around $827 million. I just want to note, I want everybody to understand that unfunded mandates from New York State, out of that money, we have $136 million of unfunded mandates that the county has to take on and do those. But on a good side of that too is that we still, through the pandemic, we maintained a unassigned fund balance of 50 million plus. I can tell you that we're in a lot better shape than a lot of counties around the state and the country, you know. So that goes towards the leadership and the dedicated workers, the county employees, and that have all gotten it done. Just to let everybody know where the money comes from, it's 38% of its non-property tax. So that's hotels and sales tax, which took a huge hit, as we all know, because it comes down to the towns and the villages, and we're all partners in that. But I'm glad to say that, right now, what do we have? Sales tax in 2019 was $176 million. Then it went off the charts last year during the pandemic. Right now, we're at $203 million for projecting for 2021. So it's come back bigger than it ever was, and that just shows the demand. It also shows the growth that the county's showing with all sorts of different initiatives, and they're just creating tax bases all around the country through entertainment, through film, through good fiscal management. So that's great to have that. That it all adds up to that we're doing okay. But one other thing too that we have that's a big issue here in Orange County around the country is opioid addiction. Orange County was one of the first counties to start lawsuits against Big Pharma. And through the negotiations, right now we're set to, there's been some settlements in some of the lawsuits. We're set to receive between $8.9 million and $16.6 million. That'll be paid out over 18 years. The county executive is, all set that, he's going to start a committee of different agencies and departments, Department of Health, Emergency Services, the medical examiner's office, to see how best to use it for treatment. The number one thing is treatment and awareness and treatment. And along those lines, the county, I guess it was probably 3 years ago, the legislature heard about a project called Hope Not Handcuffs. And so we had a little bit of money in our legislative budget, and we appropriated $10,000 to give that as seed money. And at that time, there were no police agencies involved. What Hope Not Handcuffs does is that it provides immediate immediate recovery services. They'll come, the Hope Angels. It's an organization that's run New Jersey and New York, and they'll come and they will stay with someone. So someone can turn them, go into a police station and say, I need help, I can't do this, I can't live like this anymore. And they will call up, and Hope Angel will come out, and they'll stay with them until they get them placed. So they'll make all the phone calls, all the paperwork. And I'm glad to say for a third year in a row, the legislature will be adding, we're doing a resolution, I think, either this month or next month, to give them another $10,000. but I'm most proud of the fact that it's grown to close to 30 police agencies in 2 years across Orange County. And it is, it's amazing. We were fortunate enough, they had a memorial wall that they wanted to bring to Orange County. And so Supervisor Cardone, myself, Mayor Dwyer, they were gracious enough to offer up the village and put this posters up. And it was, I think it was back in August 7th, but it was so moving, and we had hundreds and hundreds of people coming by. Cars were stopping and coming in, and they just said that it was incredible and so moving. So the whole thing is the awareness. Get them some help, and you know, we can do that. 93,000 Americans lost their lives to addiction overdoses last year. In Orange County, we lost close to 100 of our local souls the last couple years each, and we're approaching 100 now again in 2021. So this is a great a program that, again, helps this county stand out. The growth continues, the private sector, Legoland, craft beverages, distilleries, the film industry, lodging. It's also, we've got initiatives going for open space efforts across the county. There's up to $200,000 committing to do that. They're going to partner with the towns and the municipalities to buy properties to preserve. We also have the Heritage Trail is, I'll wrap this up. I'll do this, I'm almost done. But the Heritage Trail is going to have additions up to 50%. We have a 9.8 mile trail that's going to cut off the Heritage Trail and go from Chester out to Salisbury Mills. So we're doing everything we can to save that, as Tony said before, that country feel and and the rural environment. Let's see, I'm almost done here. Just some good news about unemployment. Right now, as of August, we're at 5.2% in the county. Although every store, I don't have to tell Sal, every store still is looking for employees. The New York State at the same time is 7.1, but we've come a long way. In 2020, we had this year we had 2020 we had an 8.4% for the year, but April of that year we were at a 16.9% unemployment rate just for Orange County. So it's incredible. We made a long road back. Just, I guess that's pretty much it. We have the Office of Community Development. You know, they're continuing. We always do the projects with the towns and villages. This year they were awarded $23 million to do rent relief and mortgage relief. And we were running that through the state, and there's some hold up there because we haven't really been even to scratch the surface yet with the people that we've been able to help. It's tough. You have to do it in conjunction with the tenants and the landlords. They have to be together. So next thing you know, the landlord says, well, so-and-so took off and ran off. I can't find them and stuff. So they're still trying to work it out, but we have to run that through the county. And meanwhile, that money came from through HUD and the federal government to community development to the county, and then now we had to put it back to the state. I'm not going to read it, but one other thing too is that our bond, Moody's has written some nice things. Maybe I will read it. It's going to take another 2 minutes, but a minute. But it just tells you that when we have all these great things going on and we have to go out and bond projects for the county, you know, we have bond ratings that determine the interest rates. So when Moody's is giving us good bond ratings, it translates to saving money for the taxpayers. And this is just some things that they said just this summer. The county management's ability to manage through the pandemic relatively healthy is a testament to their budget monitoring and controls. The county's financial position is poised for a rebound following a very difficult year. We're living it. That's what reality is here in the county. Liquidity for the county is strong and remains stable, if not grow, due to their conservative budgeting. So that's all I have to say. The county is in good shape, and I appreciate the time to come and give you an update, and we'll keep you posted going forward. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions?
Appreciate all you do.
Thank you, Mr. Tomm.
No, it was, listen, the Association of Towns meeting last week was great. Steve our county executive had a great budget presentation, outlined everything from top to bottom. The fund balance was extremely strong. He also honed in on making sure we kept our budgets so that the kickbacks from the state, could happen, because it's basically county and municipalities have to keep it under the cap before you're able to get a little.
Yeah, and look forward to more continued success in the county, and that will, like I said, the sales tax is better than it's ever been. Who thought that? But it did. But that
25% increase.
Yeah, and it's not over yet.
No.
Now they
although they're taking a conservative approach, I think it's a 3% increase they're working on, and I think that was done because of the fact that a lot of that 25% increase was due to the unemployment checks, which have ceased, and going forward, that spending money is not going to be available in 2022.
Exactly. And I just hope there's enough Christmas presents around. They say there might be a shortage on some things, but that will certainly help.
Al's not worried about Christmas present. He's worried about cold cuts.
Keep the cold cuts. We got to keep the cold cuts.
We got to keep eating.
Exactly.
No, we always have to eat, Sal. We always have to eat. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, Legislator Tui.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody sign up for public speaking?
Signed up.
Want to go ahead? Apologize for keeping you here that long.
It was well worth it. I wanted to...
You could pull your mask down so we could hear you better.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Ralph Penna. I'm at 82 Sale Park Road. I just came here today to thank you, all of you, especially Mr. Supervisor. We had a cleanup project around our community. We pulled out close to 2 tons of trash, and it was really a combined effort between local government and the community, and I think everybody should be applauded, and I thank you very much for your support.
Listen, our pleasure. You guys did the work. We just did created the logistics for you between Mayor Bell and us here in the town. Our highway picked up, what did you guys get, like 54 tires?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was like 54 tires that were pulled out of Walton Lake. There was a bunch of boats. Somebody told me that 2 of those boats that were put in that dumpster, the next day were gone. I don't know how somebody's going to recycle a boat that has a hole in it that was down on the bottom of the lake.
It was 3 hours. 3 hours later, they were gone. So,
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what they did.
And hopefully they put them over to Greenwood Lake.
As long as they got them out, that's the important thing.
They're going to try that Flex Seal, the one that's on TV.
Yeah, but thank you for all your efforts and everyone who was there that day. It was a great community effort, great spirit and dedication that got it done.
And hopefully we continue it on Earth Day in April. If we'll work
that'd be great.
towards that, that would be terrific. So again, thank you on behalf of all the volunteers. Thank you very much.
All right, appreciate
Stepping
it.
up and leading the charge there. Well done.
Yeah.
It's a team
Nice
effort.
job.
It's a team effort, not one person. So thank
All
you.
right. Be well.
You need one person to start the spark, and that was you, Mr. Penn. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for coming down and starting it.
All right. Thank
you. Bye now. Anyone else want to speak? No?
That means only one thing, Mr. Supervisor.
That, Mr. Colon?
I believe it's time to call it an evening.
No, it's not. I have to bring something up from the floor, and what I think you should have this. Do you have the the highway, the information on the highway. What's that? Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, I saw something.
Oh, that I do have, yeah.
So,
Yep.
Where'd that go?
I would like to place this in Councilwoman Bingham's hands because this is directly related to Water District 12. So they need to purchase propane tanks for to power Water District 12.
For the Wallace Energy?
Well, I'm not sure if it's Wallace Energy. I'm going to give you all I have here, Councilwoman Bingham, because it's a little confusing what was sent to me, because there's different costs. It's not like an Excel spreadsheet where you could go to column 1 and column 2 and make a comparison. So if you could just maybe please contact Bob at Highway, and then whatever the result is.
Right, I remembered seeing this email. Right. Okay.
I mean, the cost is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $6,000.
Right, but we already have the suppliers we use for, I believe it's Water District 1, their propane, so,
Yeah, so one
Do
of
a little
those,
comparison.
I think it was, I don't want to name names, but I think one of those quotes included a bunch of, like 850 gallons of propane,
yes.
so.
Is this for what, like a backup
house.
generator?
Backup generator and to heat the pump
and to
house
heat the pump
itself
house.
during the winter.
So-
But we need a
Oh,
tank.
yeah, right, for
Yeah, we need
the heaters on the, yeah, well,
Yes.
that's important.
Yeah.
Both are important, I can tell you from,
So I would,
as we know from past
can I
experience.
just make a motion to authorize Councilwoman Bingham to
Yes,
make the necessary decision regarding the purchase of these tanks?
yes, I'll second that motion.
Call the question.
Well, I have to abstain because you're,
Malone, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pancarello, aye.
And I,
Okay, so moved. All right. The other thing is the notice of intent for designation of lead agency. Do you want to, don't look at me like Brian looks at me. Do we have to pass a resolution on this? Okay. So I'm going to read the notice of intent for designation of lead agency. And this is for the Arrow Park water system improvements relating to the project, which is the installation of approximately 2,850 linear feet of 6-inch PVC water main and associated appurtenances. Additionally, the project includes the installation of a new well house adjacent to the existing well house, which will be demolished when the construction of the new well house is complete. There will also be a new well added to the site to provide redundancy. The date of this action is October 4th. The date of the mailing is October 5th. Please take notice that, according to the provisions of 6 NYCRR Part 617, the town of Monroe has declared its intent to be lead agency for the purpose of review of and action on the project named below, Arrow Park Water System Improvements. If within 30 calendar days from the date of this mailing, this notification, no involved agency submits a written objection to the Town of Monroe Town Board, the Town Monroe Town Board shall act as lead agency and shall follow the provisions of 6 NYCRR Part 617.7 governing determination of significance of the proposed action. Do I have a second? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Malone, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Aye.
I,
Okay, so moved. Is there any other business?
Make the people on Arrowhead very happy. It's moving along.
Okay, so I will, our next meeting is going to be on October 18th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Maybe we'll be graced again with the wonderful Bobby Zitt from Ferrick Nugent McCartney. And I will make a motion to adjourn the October 4th, 2021 meeting. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Hello, aye.
So moved. Thank you.